The People's Prince. Once upon a time, in a far-off kingdom, there lived a young prince named Alexander. Alexander was born into a life of luxury and privilege, but despite his privileged upbringing, he was kind, humble, and compassionate. He was loved by the people of his kingdom, and they looked up to him as a model of what a true leader should be. One day, while walking in the forest, Alexander stumbled upon a small cottage. As he approached the cottage, he heard the sound of someone crying. Curious, he entered the cottage and found an old woman weeping in a corner. "Are you okay?" Alexander asked the old woman. "No, my son," the old woman replied. "I am not okay. My daughter has been kidnapped by an evil witch, and I fear for her safety." Alexander's heart went out to the old woman, and he knew he had to help her. He set out on a quest to rescue the old woman's daughter from the clutches of the evil witch. The journey was long and treacherous, and Alexander faced many obstacles along the way. But he never lost sight of his goal, and he pressed on, determined to rescue the old woman's daughter. Finally, after many days of traveling, Alexander arrived at the witch's lair. The witch was powerful and cunning, and she had many guards protecting her fortress. But Alexander was not afraid. He bravely fought his way past the guards and into the witch's castle. There, he found the old woman's daughter, locked in a tower. He freed her and together they made their way back to the old woman's cottage. The old woman was overjoyed to see her daughter again, and she thanked Alexander from the bottom of her heart. But Alexander's quest had taught him a valuable lesson. He realized that his privileged upbringing had shielded him from the struggles that many others faced. He understood that true leadership required empathy and compassion, and he resolved to use his position of power to help those in need. From that day forward, Alexander became known as the People's Prince. He devoted himself to the welfare of his kingdom, and he worked tirelessly to make sure that everyone, regardless of their station in life, had access to the basic necessities of food, shelter, and healthcare. The people of the kingdom loved Alexander even more after his quest, and they saw in him a true leader who was willing to put his own safety on the line for the sake of others. And Alexander knew that his quest had taught him a valuable lesson about the true meaning of leadership, that true leadership required empathy, compassion, and a willingness to put the needs of others before one's own. The moral of the story is that true leadership requires empathy, compassion, and a willingness to put the needs of others before one's own. It is not enough to be born into privilege and power, one must also be willing to use that power for the greater good. And when we do so, we become true leaders who inspire others to follow in our footsteps and make the world a better place.